Holy cow, is this stuff ugly? I mean, this stuff isn't ugly. This is, I believe the word we're looking for is fugly. This is really bad. These inflation numbers are just miserable, I tell you. And the Biden administration wants to blame everybody but themselves. Of course they're responsible for this. Are they responsible for COVID? No. Are they responsible for their term in office in a reaction to COVID? Yes. Are they responsible for not doing anything to create jobs? Yes. Because people going back to work, as we've been talking about, that's not creating jobs. That's a really important thing to remember. I'm glad people are going back to work, but it doesn't create jobs. Creating jobs is creating new jobs, not allowing people to go back to work just in the word go, right? That's not it. You told 5 million people they can't go to work. Then you told 5 million people they can go to work. That's not creating 5 million jobs. I don't know why you think it is, Joe Biden. I don't know why you keep lying to America about this, but you do. But you can't lie about these numbers. Holy crap, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Rumble. Great to be with you. I'm Tony Katz, presented by Americans for Prosperity. AmericansForProsperity.org. They are right there. Here's where we're at.
8.3%, which is hotter than expected. 8.3%. That's the year over year headline number. Core year over year. That strips out food and energy. That's 6.2%. The expectation 6%. So again, these year over year numbers are hotter than expected.
Ended a little bbit early. Yeah, they're hotter than expected. That's absolutely right. 8.3%. If you look to March, because this is the April number, March was 8.5%. And some people were kind of hoping that this would show the markets that we've hit the peak, right? We've hit the peak of inflation, and now we're going to slowly trickle down. The markets want to believe this. 291 up in the Dow, 60 plus up in the NASDAQ, but nobody thinks that this is the bottom. Look, my conversations are anecdotal, and I don't claim to be a market expert on any level. There is no one who thinks that this is the bottom of the market. To watch what happened to crypto, which just took a bath this morning, all of a sudden, it was fascinating. Everything's kind of like trending along. Maybe it's finding a little bit of recovery. Shoom. And now it's kind of worked its way back, depending on what you're looking at. But Bitcoin, 31,500. It was under 30 for a little while there. These are not good times in the markets. This is a bloodbath that's going on, and nobody thinks because of an 8.3% rate of inflation that somehow, see, things are better. No one believes it except for Joe Biden, who wants you to know that it's everybody else's fault. And the reason you don't know how good things are is that you don't know how to focus.
Number two, I think that, they're not focused. All they're focused on, understandably, is the problem they're facing. They get a 5.5% raise, an average raise in their salaries, and yet inflation exceeds that. And they look around the world, and they know that a lot of it's extremely complicated. And so they're frustrated, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. There's a lot we have to do. But you know as well, I shouldn't say you, I think what I have to do is explain in simple, straightforward language what's going on.
Simple, straightforward language, because we're all too dumb to understand his genius. We don't understand what's going on. Who is he talking to? How does that work within 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that you go about this kind of theory? Here's what the American people know. Gas is on average $4.37 a gallon. Parents can't find formula for their children. Inflation is at these incredible all-time highs. And of course, there's this. That right there. Oh, I'm sorry, my face is in the way a little bit. There we go, much better. Adjustable rate mortgage demand goes to 14-year high. Why adjustable rate? Because it's lower than the 5.53% that a 30-year fixed mortgage will get you. I think you can get a 5/1 ARM at 4.47. So if you can get the ARM at 4.47, people are now playing a gamble with home buying. Spend less on the interest rate. Figure the interest rates will come down and you'll be able to refinance in 5 years or less, and everything will work out for the better. This is the gamble. Anything to buy a house. It's as if somehow in the past 20 years, we haven't seen this turn out to be pretty bad for the housing market, for Americans in general. We're doing it. 5.53% on a 30-year fix. Now, in the course of history, that's extremely low. But in recent history, that's crazy high. I bought a used car in November. One of the kids is going to be driving. I needed to have a third car because, no, they can't just borrow my car. That's just not the way it works. I want to leave. I need to be able to leave. I can't wait on somebody to get back. And I thought about getting them, like getting them a beater, right? It's just simple something. And I said, why don't I just get myself something? And kid number one can end up with the minivan. That's your first car. Life's tough all over. My first car was a Mercury Topaz. So, they're doing okay. And so I bought myself something, right? Not extravagant, but nice, all right? I'm not going to lie to you. 1.99%. 1.99% was my rate, and it was a used vehicle, was my rate on that car. Okay. 1.99%, you got me. Those deals are over. I bought months earlier than I needed to. And on this one, I got pretty I don't always do well. Don't ask me about investing. I am the worst at the markets in the world, but I do follow what's going on. But in terms of my own investments, don't listen to me about any investment advice whatsoever. On the car thing, I got it right. I hit it at the right moment and at the right time. I'm not getting that now. I refied the house a year and a half ago. You're not going to get those rates now. Oh, I'm unbelievably low. I hit on those two things saying, man, this is going to be bad. I know a lot of people did, but a lot of people were in a position to be able to do those things because they had not yet purchased the house, because they were still looking, because they were getting their lives on track, whatever the case may be. Now they're into 5.5% interest rates, which eventually, as these things keep creeping up, will have an effect, an even more detrimental effect on the economy. Gas prices, does anybody believe that this isn't going to $5 a gallon? It's going to $5 a gallon because we're already at $4.37, and that's with 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve being dumped into the system. Why are we doing this? Why are we dumping this into the system? It's a ridiculous idea. Never mind that it endangers America for when we actually have a real problem. Right now, our problems could be solved with more energy exploration and more drilling here in the U.S. True, it will take time for these things to come online. I agree, but they will eventually be online and things will be better. These are the facts. It's not a debatable subject. By the way, Brent crude right now, over $107 a barrel. West Texas is at 105. For a while there, West Texas was under 100. So we haven't gotten past or below $100 barrel oil for any amount of time. This is what it costs now. This has become the standard, or as the kids like to say, the new normal. It's ugly and it's sick and it's twisted and there's nothing normal about it, but that's what we've got now. This is where we are. This is the new normal. Absolutely obscene. Ugly as can be, and only getting worse because Joe Biden has made it so. Let's talk about how bad it's getting. This was a representative from the Cato Institute.
Look, I have a couple initial reactions. One is there go real wages for the month of April. The second reaction is that there were some transitory factors that were actually bringing this number down. I'm looking at used cars, which were down 0.4 of a percentage point. There are some base effects that weighed down on inflation last month. But I think that it's a mistake to be looking at a lot of individual components, because the bottom line is this is a broadening inflation problem. When you look at any survey of businesses, any survey of households.
Goodbye to real wages or real wage increases and a broadening of inflation. Let's get a little backup on that from Larry Kudlow.
And by the way, stronger inflation number is a theme. It's now, 15 or 16-month theme, and it's going to continue. There is no let up in the inflation rate. And I just want to note a couple of things here. Food prices are skyrocketing, really out of control, up 12% at an annual rate for the past 3 months, 9.4% overall. The CPI itself in the past 3 months, up close to 10%, 9.9% at an annual rate. And if you take out Vladimir Putin, energy and food prices, you're still up about 6.25%, which kind of puts the lie to what President Biden was saying yesterday. I mean, this is going to be, buckle your seatbelts. This is a problem. The problem's not going away. You get higher base from last year. The comparisons are a little tougher, but you're still running over 8% overall.
Buckle up. This isn't going away. Cato agreeing this isn't going away. Joe Biden is unwilling to understand or admit to his responsibility and his culpability in what we have here, which is also has a lot to do with the fact that people don't trust this economy. They don't trust Biden. They don't trust the future. They don't trust the regulatory environment, right? Trust is a huge part about this, right? Consumer confidence matters so incredibly much. It's huge how much consumer confidence matters to this whole conversation. It's incredible. But I will share with you something from the Biden administration. This was the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, talking about the economy and what's really going to help. What do we have to ensure a strong, smart, valuable economy?
Well, I believe that eliminating the right of women to make decisions about when and whether to have children would have very damaging effects on the economy and would set women back decades. Roe v. Wade and access to reproductive health care, including abortion, helped lead to increased labor force participation.
I'm sorry. That's an absolutely stunning statement. And I bring it up in the context of what I do here and this show and brought to you by Americans for Prosperity. And not because I want to talk about abortion, but you can't ignore the callousness of Janet Yellen's statement. We need to have abortion because we need to get those women back in the workforce and we can't have them laying around having babies. That is what she said. That's ugly. I don't know how else to say it. There's probably ways to say it, but I just can't say it here. That's ugly stuff. That's cult-like conversation. But that's the best they can do. As long as we have Roe v. Wade, we're going to be economically sound. Well, we have Roe v. Wade right now. Are we economically sound? This administration does not play in the seriousness. They don't actually engage the way that rational people do. Rational people, Americans, are looking at what it costs to fill up a tank of gas because that's our barometer. They're looking at the gallon of milk because that's the barometer. You can argue that really rich people don't look at those things. Does it matter? They're not the ones who deal with the pressures of inflation. Somebody who has got the mass amount of expendable income can afford more for the base things and the luxury things and not feel too much, if any, of a pinch. The person who has a lower income has to deal with certain set costs that are already big percentages of budget. And when these other things go up, like the need to get to work via gas prices, it puts a crunch on everything else. And then hard choices get made. When hard choices get made, people then have to make the choice of who they're going to vote for. No wonder the limousine liberal is a limousine liberal they can afford to be. They can afford the luxury of saying, well, we have to do something about the environment, so it's higher gas prices. That's the way it's going to be. I'd pay $20 a gallon just to ensure Donald Trump's not in office, or whatever nonsense thing they say in order to prove how woke they are. But in the real world, it doesn't work. In the real world, an average of $4.37 a gallon affects multiple businesses and multiple people into the millions. So this administration doesn't know, can't figure it out, doesn't care. And what does Joe Biden say? Again, the problem is you don't know how to focus.
Number two, I think that, they're not focused. All they're focused on, understandably, is the problem they're facing.
That's correct. Moms are focused on the problem of not being able to find formula for their infants. And what is the Biden administration doing? The Biden administration is pushing the idea that you should try and intimidate justices while they're pushing the idea that the Senate Democrats should vote on abortion. They're not talking about this. What you and I and rational Americans are talking about. They are completely disconnected, and proudly so. I don't know how you expect to win elections like that. And I sure as bloody heck don't know how you think you're going to solve problems like that. I don't know how you think it's going to happen. You don't solve problems like that. These people are not prepared to solve problems. They don't know how. Now make sure you get yourself over to Locals, TonyKatz.locals.com. We're building out the entire world there, moving things off of Facebook and into the Locals community. You can become a subscriber, just $4 a month. First 100 people are $4 a month. That's the deal right there. And so thrilled with Americans for Prosperity. And as I said, AmericansForProsperity.org. We're going to be doing some roadshow stuff this summer. My plan is with AFP talking cigars and cigar taxes. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. We're going to be in Indiana, and I don't know if we'll get out of Indiana or not on this one. But there's some real interesting conversations there about how your luxury item, how your your respite, is respite the right word? All right, how these things are absolutely ruined by inflation, and how we need to be proactive in a lot of different ways to be able to enjoy the things we want to enjoy, whether that's for me, a cigar, or you going to a sporting event or a concert or anything else. So I'm going to be taking that on the road, these conversations with Americans for Prosperity. Very much looking forward to that as well. This is the Morning Rumble. Make sure you subscribe, rumble.com/Tony Katz, rumble.com/Tony Katz. And I know we're still figuring out some things and where the video is playing and placing. It's all going well. Getting better every single day. Subscribe. The Morning Rumble. Why am I yelling? The Morning Rumble right there at rumble.com, rumble.com/Tony Katz. Be sure to be here every morning, 10:20 a.m. and subscribe, rumble.com/Tony Katz. And we'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.